And now to a major development in the saga of embattled Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard. A judge has dismissed her lawsuit, claiming that a caucus that threw her off the ballot was illegal. NBC5's Regina Waldrop has been following this case very closely for a very long time. She joins us now with details. Regina.
Marion, it is official. Tiffany Henyard is off the ballot for Thornton Township Supervisor, a role she was appointed to in 2022. So I want to take you back to the scene December 3rd. That is when Tiffany Henyard was thrown off the ballot. It was a packed and raucous meeting with an overfull crowd waiting outside. At that time, Henyard called it unfair and illegal. She said none of her supporters were let in to cast a vote. Now, we spoke to elections expert attorney Bert Odelson, who tells us the caucus was legal, and also a Thornton Township resident who says it might have been legal, but it might not have been ethical.
I think that they used some plays out of Tiffany Henyard's own playbook. They booked a venue that was too small to hold everyone who wanted to attend. They seated their own supporters early.
Were there, conducted the caucus, it was done legally. Even a properly filed objection wouldn't have stood. So she's done.
A few moments later.
Her daughter moved away to Texas, and when her daughter moved away to Texas, she went to help her daughter. But I done heard about 4 or 5 people tell me how they had to take care of yours. And so now you've been a half-ass mayor. But if you wanted to get up here and earn some respect, then you should have been able to respond to Lori Lightfoot's report about credit cards. You want to talk about them not coming to work, but we've been hearing about what you've been doing while you've been at work. And I'm going to give away the rest of my time because I think on behalf of the Black Cookout Association that we would rather take a vote that we're going to exchange your black ass for Stephanie to be the new member of Congress. So all those in favor say, all those against it say nay, all those in favor say aye. You go.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, this is a popular request video, even though I was gonna cover it regardless, but I read all the mentions, the messages, the emails, all this stuff that you guys sent me saying, hey, you have to cover this story. You gotta talk about the ghetto super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, getting into a brawl, doing a Thornton Township meeting that we got to talk about, okay? But before we talk about it, before we get into this brawl, this fight that happened, we have to talk about what kind of led up to this, okay? Because the ghetto mayor can't just seem to stay out of trouble, okay? We all know that she's facing an FBI investigation over the allegations of misusing taxpayer money as the mayor of Dolton and the supervisor of the Thornton Township. But, you know, she's also getting in trouble for things that, quite honestly, is just like, how and why? Like, for example, she recently got held in criminal contempt by a judge over her refusal to issue liquor licenses to a local business.
The mayor of Dolton was back in a courtroom today. A business owner took legal action after she says the mayor refused to sign paperwork she needed to open her business. Regina Waldrop was in the court for today's hearing.
This is the 3rd time this year that this case has been before a Cook County judge. Today, the owners of the business are able to walk away with 2 of the 3 liquor licenses they applied for, while Mayor Henyard is facing a serious charge from the judge. Frustration and relief for a small business owner.
It's about time.
Tiffany Kamara left a Cook County courtroom with the liquor licenses she needs to open St. Patrick's, a family-owned restaurant and banquet hall on Lincoln Avenue in Dolton.
This should have been over, like he said, in November.
Kamara took legal action after she says she wasn't able to obtain licenses from Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who also serves as liquor commissioner. On Wednesday, Cook County Judge Cecilia Horan gave Henyard until 5 p.m. Thursday night to sign the licenses, but that deadline not met. In court Friday, Henyard signed them after the judge threatened her with contempt. After the licenses were signed, the judge found Henyard in indirect criminal contempt, but she wasn't taken into custody.
There are different kinds of contempt. What that means is that in the presence of the court, the mayor was disrespectful to the authority of the court because she was asked by the judge, will you sign the licenses, yes or no? And instead of answering the judge's question, she was she didn't talk in circles. So because of that, the judge held her in indirect criminal contempt.
Max Solomon is Henyard's attorney.
It's very important for the people to understand that the documents that were signed today had another entity on there. And
so that was the holdup on you?
That was the holdup. That was the only thing.
Kamara says she's lost time and money. She says she wants Henyard to pay.
We want her to be fined. We want her to pay my client's attorney's fees. And we want damages.
We are wasting money every day. This building, nice building that people could have used, and jobs.
As for that criminal contempt charge, the judge is giving Mayor Henyard time to respond. This matter heads back to court next week. Reporting from Daily Center, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Yeah, so now that leads me to the investigation, the findings that have come out from disgraced ex-Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, which, by the way, Brandon Johnson makes Lori Lightfoot look not that bad, okay? But Lori Lightfoot was hired to investigate the ghetto mayor, and now she is releasing her findings. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Bombshell findings disclosed in Dolton tonight. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot revealing her full report after a months-long independent investigation.
Casey Cronus is live there with the latest. Casey.
Lightfoot walked residents through a 73-page presentation showing that for years there's been a blatant disregard of the village's purchasing policy, and even insurance companies have now declined to cover Mayor Henyard. A packed house on the edge of their seats, with the exception of Mayor Tiffany Henyard herself, who was a no-show for the reveal of a highly anticipated report detailing her alleged mismanagement of taxpayer dollars.
At least as early as late 2021, there was a concerted, systematic effort on behalf of Mayor Henyard and others in her administration to hide the true financial condition of the village of Dolton from the trustees and from members of the public.
Last April, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was tasked by a group of village trustees to independently investigate the village's financial situation. Lightfoot found that those trustees were intentionally kept in the dark when it came to spending.
By March 2022, the trustees were effectively cut off from receiving regular financial reports.
Over the course of 9 months, Lightfoot delved into village credit card transactions. In 2023, charges amounted to $779,000. On Amazon, more than $50,000 was spent on artificial ice tiles for a winter rink. But Lightfoot says these purchases were not done in compliance with the village's purchasing policy.
It's really a criminal offense, in my opinion, how she have squandered our finances and to leave us in such shape.
And in March of 2023, Henyard allegedly ordered the village to stop responding to Freedom of Information Act requests. Lightfoot writing that the village's FOIA process is fundamentally broken.
I am excited about the future of Dolton. I'm excited that the trustees have come together to bring light to where there was darkness.
The findings coming to light just 1 month before Henyard will seek re-election in the Democratic primary for mayor. Lightfoot adds her coverage was canceled in order for the village to get insurance for the 2024-25 period.
I think we started a new chapter some months ago, and it became with working together. I'm grateful to the administration or the staff that has been willing to support the trustees and what we've been doing, and I think we've slowly turned the page.
Late tonight, Henyard's attorney, Bo Brinley, issued a statement writing in part the idea that any credibility could be given to Lightfoot's findings about another mayor's financial decisions is preposterous. This is an effort by a failed political figure desperately seeking the limelight to which she is no longer entitled. Meanwhile, there has already been progress on behalf of the trustees who hired Lightfoot last year. In the summer, the deficit for the village amounted to $3.65 million, but by fall, it decreased to $2.4 million. Reporting live in Dolton, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, Lori Lightfoot did an investigation, and she revealed that the sky is blue, okay, when it comes to Tiffany Henyard. Everybody knew that this woman is corrupt, that she is misspending the town's money. Yeah, I mean, she didn't really reveal anything new, right? She basically just confirmed what everybody already knew. And now that brings us to the fight that broke out at the Thornton Township meeting. And this is, again, why I said that this place is Wakanda, right? This is why I call it Wakanda.
Breaking right now in the south suburbs, fist fights at a Thornton Township meeting tonight. This was our view from two different vantage points. Leaders are forced to clear the hall and stop working again as the chaos erupts.
Embattled Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard made a rare appearance there tonight, getting into the fray herself.
Our Jermont Terry witnessed it all, and Jermont, this happened after several Henyard-supported employees were suspended.
That's exactly right, Erica. Tonight's meeting was the first in months that they've had here in the township, and it ended with South Holland police getting called in and shutting it down after Supervisor Henyard's boyfriend squared up with someone making disrespectful comments towards the supervisor during public comments. And as you mentioned, it's a fight the supervisor found herself in the middle of, too. As Jedediah Brown finished his public comments directed to Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, he ended with this. You gone. And before Brown could get back to his seat, Henyard's allies, including her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, confronted Brown and punches went flying. Several men joined the tussle where people threw punches and started kicking. Security guard tried separating the men. Witnesses say Henyard, who was in the front of the room with the Board of Trustees, ran towards that tussle. Her intentions unclear, but she did lose a shoe and was thrown to the ground. This guy in the black t-shirt is Kamal Woods, Henyard's boyfriend. He was also at the center of the trustees' agenda.
I would like to make a motion to put Kamal Woods and William Moore on administrative leave.
Woods was hired by Henyard to run the township youth program, and many on the board and in the community have questioned the work he and William Moore, another Henyard ally, ever did in Thornton Township. The board placed them on paid leave immediately as investigations into their positions get underway.
Wow. 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 Is anybody surprised? I mean, really? To me, this is like, I'm surprised that like a fight like that hasn't broke out already. This is basically what I expect at this point for these types of people, right? I'm just saying, like, you're dealing with people who clearly have no business running the town, okay? The people in the city, they elected this woman, again, to make history, and they got exactly what they voted for. They got exactly what they voted for, okay? This is a ghetto mess. That's exactly what it is, okay? This is what happens when you have the kings and queens running everything, right? This is exactly what happens. You can't make this up. You can't make it up. At some point, black folks are going to get tired of being embarrassed, right? We should be embarrassed by this. Black people should be embarrassed, right? The whole world, again, they're looking at this and saying, yeah, this is what happens when you got a whole bunch of black people running the town, right? That's exactly what the world is saying. When they are paying attention to this story. And again, the worst part about it is that it makes it harder for actual competent black people who are not ghetto fabulous, right? Who are qualified to lead these positions in these towns. It makes it harder for them to get elected. It makes it harder for them to succeed. So, you know, when you see stories like this, it's funny, but it's also sad at the same time, right? It's extremely sad. And, you know, it just confirms a lot of stereotypes that people have. That's exactly what's going on here. I mean, she's just hiring like anybody to be in these positions, right? All of her little friends, her boyfriends, her bodyguards. I mean, at one point, this woman hired a child sex offender to inspect homes, to go into people's homes. It's insanity. It really is.
Underway.
Why is it with pay? Because they've been on leave with pay. They haven't done anything relating to what their roles are supposed to be.
Henyard tried keeping the trustees from making the vote and argued placing Woods on leave is nothing more than personal.
No, and this is political retaliation. So again, thank you for the lawsuit, because y'all just picked certain individuals. Y'all didn't come in here do no research, so I appreciate it.
But what was not appreciated is the chaos residents had to see firsthand. Now, many people left this meeting shaking their heads, talking about what an embarrassment this night was tonight. As for the fight, it ended the meeting. There was no adjournment. South Holland Police, again, we do not know if they arrested anyone and or detained anyone. The officers on scene would not comment. Reporting live in Thornton Township tonight, I'm Jermont Terry, CBS News, Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, all of them should have been arrested. I mean, let's be real, including the ghetto mayor, who is long overdue to be arrested and charged. This woman's skating on thin ice, real thin ice. So at this point, here's where we stand when it comes to Tiffany Henyard, right? Because a lot of people are probably wondering, when is this woman going to be out of office? Well, when it comes to her job as the supervisor of Thornton, she basically is already done, okay, in the sense that she lost the caucus election. She tried to sue because she accused them of cheating, basically, and the judge rejected it. So she's basically done. Unless she can pull off some miracle as a write-in candidate, she's not going to be on the ballot. Okay, so she's effectively done as supervisor of the Thornton Township, and that's the big job. That's the job when she was getting paid $250,000+ a year. Ridiculous to think about. But when it comes to her position as mayor of Dolton, there are elections coming up this year. There is a primary that will be held on February 25th. Okay, so that's coming up in less than a month. And then on top of that, you have the next mayor election, the general election, in April of 2025. So essentially, April seems to be when we will know for certain that Tiffany Henyard will no longer be in office. But we will see. Okay. At this point, this just continues to get more and more and more embarrassing. Okay. As a black person in this country, I am embarrassed by the behavior of these individuals. I'm not surprised at this point that it is escalated. Okay. You have people who clearly are not qualified to be running the town, that are running this town. I want to feel bad for the people, but at the same time, I just don't understand, how did you vote for such a ghetto mess in the first place? I really don't get it. I really don't understand it. All the signs should have been there when you first voted for the woman. But again, this is what happens when you're trying to make history, right? When your whole focus is, well, let's put a black woman in charge, right? Black women can save everything, right? When that's your mentality, well, this is what you end up with, right? They ended up with that in Chicago. They ended up with all of this stuff, right? All of the destruction and chaos and disasters that have happened in these liberal cities. A lot of it has been because of this push to make history. And it never works out. It never works out. Okay, it never works out. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.